Carston Shields with Coding Alternative. This is going to be episode 7 of our motion code page-by-page commentary. Now, Emanuel left off on page 32. We were talking about how we're able to talk to the body. And now this is going to be a serious paradigm shift for a lot of people, as it was for me about 2 years ago. But Dr. Brad, as Emanuel was reading, he learned about muscle testing as a chiropractor, and he had the idea, what if we could actually get answers from our bodies and from our subconscious mind using the same methods of muscle testing. Now we're actually going to discuss one of these methods of muscle testing. It's so simple that anybody at any age can do it. And so let's go ahead and finish, or we'll pick up where Emanuel left off on page 32, where it says negative versus positive stimuli. And he says, before I can teach you how to get information from your subconscious mind, you must understand one basic principle. This is that all organisms, no matter how primitive, will respond to positive or negative stimuli. For example, plants grow towards sunlight and away from darkness. An amoeba in an aquarium will move towards light and away from darkness. If a drop of poison is placed in that same aquarium, the amoeba will move away from that poison and head towards cleaner water. On a subconscious level, the human body is no different. Your body will normally be drawn toward positive things or thoughts and repelled by negative things or ideas. In fact, this has been going on all of our lives, without your even being aware of it. If you will allow yourself to quiet your conscious mind and tune into your body, you will learn that your subconscious is quite able to communicate with you. Are you ready to let your subconscious mind speak to you? Now, pardon the noise in the background. There are many methods of muscle testing. My go-to method is called the ring and ring method, and that's where you take both hands, make kind of rings with your fingers, link them like two links in a chain, and gently pull apart. But we're not going to go into those. He's going to discuss those in chapter 5, and we will discuss those in chapter 5, and we will show you personally how each of these work, so you'll be able to practice and do that. So Emanuel was talking about how it took him a while as well to kind of get the muscle testing down, and it actually took me longer because I could not get out of my own way. And that's the last section that we're going to cover today, is how to get out of your own way, how to quiet your mind. I didn't understand any of that for like a month after I began testing. But one of the methods that I began to use that kind of helped, it wasn't my go-to method. It didn't really help a lot, but it does work for pretty much anybody and everybody if you can quiet your mind and focus. And it's called the sway test. The simplest method I know of to get answers from your subconscious mind is called the sway test. You will learn other methods of muscle testing later in this book, but the sway test is extremely simple to learn and does not require the assistance of anyone else. And so it can be used when you are alone. To try the sway test, assume a standing position and make sure that you are comfortable. The room should be quiet and free of distractions, including music and television. It will be easiest for you to learn if you are alone or with someone who is learning along with you. Here's what to do. So stand with your feet shoulder width apart so that you are comfortably balanced. So I'm just going to kind of show you this as we go. Let's move my chair a little bit. So again, shoulder width, just stand comfortably. And yes, this is Chewbacca. I know it's a little short of May 4th, but anyway. So stand still with your hands by your side. So just, very, very relaxed. So again, shoulder width apart with your feet so you're comfortably balanced. Stand with your hands just dangling by your side very comfortably. Let go of all your worries and relax your body completely. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. I won't because I have to read. So I'm going to actually turn to my side. I'm going to kind of even out between these panels so you can kind of see the subtle movements as I begin to read. Within a few seconds, you will notice that it is actually impossible to stand perfectly still. Your body will continually shift its position very slightly in different directions as your muscles work to maintain your standing posture. You'll notice that these movements are very slight and are not under your conscious control. When you make a positive, true, or congruent statement, your body should begin to sway noticeably forward, usually within less than 10 seconds. When you make an incongruent, negative, or untrue statement, your body should be able to sway backwards within the same time frame. So let me adjust a little bit. I believe that this phenomenon occurs because of how you are used to perceiving the world around you. in spite of the fact that your environment surrounds you completely at all times on all sides, you are used to used to only dealing with what is directly in front of you at any given time. When you drive a car, when you walk, when you eat, when you work at your desk, you are constantly dealing with the world in front of you, not the world behind you or to the side of you. When you make any kind of statement, your body perceives that thought as if it were like anything else it has to deal with, like a file on your desk or food on your plate. Essentially, you can think of the statement you make as being right in front of you, ready to be dealt with and processed. Now, when you are ready, simply state the words unconditional love. So let's go ahead and assume this position again. Again, if you're watching this, just go ahead and make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart so you're just comfortably balanced. Your hands are just gently and calmly dangling at your side. I'm going to, again, turn this way so you can kind of see the gentle movements. So, let's go. So when you are ready, simply state the words unconditional love. Unconditional love. So I didn't even mean to do that, but keep this phrase in your mind and try to feel the feelings that are connected with this phrase. Immediately what came to my mind with unconditional love was my sweet baby boy. Now, as you guys have seen in previous episodes, my sweet wife, my sweet baby boy, my family, my little girl who's coming on the way, this is my whole world. And when I think of unconditional love, I think of my little family, and where I would probably I don't think about where I would be without them, because that's more negative, and you don't want to really think of alternative universes or whatnot. But unconditional love, I think of my sweet baby boy resting his little head on my shoulder, and he's at that point now where he kind of pats my shoulder, he pats my back. And we were just in Vegas. We actually met up with Emanuel, and when we were walking out, Vegas and the strip and stuff, he would constantly reach his hand up my sleeve and just kind of gently tickle my arm, and that is pure love right there in its purest form, and I can't think of anything sweeter or more beautiful. And just by saying unconditional love, he's the first thing that came in my mind. And we're gonna, if you guys noticed, I kind of went forward a little bit, and he's gonna talk about why this happened. So he said, keep the phrase in your mind and try to feel the feelings that are connected with that phrase. Again, I thought of my sweet little family, my sweet baby boy just patting my back as he rests his little head on my shoulder. In a few moments, you should notice your body sway forward. Like a plant growing toward the light, your body will gently sway forward to the positive energy of that thought. The movement of your body toward this thought may be more subtle or more sudden than gradual in some cases, and may surprise you. Now clear your mind. So this was unconditional love. This was my sweet baby boy. Now clear your mind and say the word hatred. So again, shoulder length apart with your feet. Comfortably stand, hands down at your side. I'll make sure that I'm right even. So hatred, hatred, hatred. So if you notice that, it's very subtle. But I try to clear my mind and I try to think of a lot of negative things, and there's not a ton of negative stuff around me that I can really focus on. But hatred, what do you think of when you think of hatred? You probably think of war. You probably think of an argument that you had with maybe a friend or family member or something. Or hatred is pretty darn strong, and hopefully none of us are feeling a lot of hatred. But when you think of hatred, just think of how much hatred there is in the world. There's so much light in this world, but there's so much darkness as well. And so if you're to kind of focus on kind of the dark stuff, just temporarily, we're not wanting you to focus and dwell on the darkness, but we want you to think hatred, think of war, think of many children who are suffering in Syria, and the people being gassed by their leader, all this terrible stuff going on. You'll notice that you just kind of subconsciously but very subtly sway backwards. Now again, try to feel the feelings that are connected with this thought. Just as any organism will automatically move away from a poisonous or harmful substance, your body should move away from the thought of hatred. That's exactly what it did. Thinking about the terrible things, just temporarily. Again, we're not dwelling on the bad, on the negative. But if you allow yourself to just think about that, your body doesn't want that. It wants to just get away from that. So let's go ahead and see really quick. You should notice that your body, within 10 seconds or so, will begin to sway backwards. It is very important that you don't try to force your body to sway either forward or backward. Simply allow your body to sway on its own. You are giving your subconscious mind its first opportunity to speak to you in a very direct way, and it must be done gently for the best result. Don't force it. It will become easier with practice. Now try to make a statement that you know to be true. So this is the fun part. This is where we're actually able to work and talk with our body, and talk with our subconscious mind. So again, assume the position. Now state your name out loud, saying, my name is so-and-so, such and such. This is you talking to your body and allowing your body to respond to you. So I know that my name is Carston. My body knows that my name is Carston, and so I'm just going to let go. Feet are comfortably at a shoulder width apart. Hands are just gently down. And I'll just say, my name is Carston. I can gently, very subtly feel myself just kind of go forward. I know that I'm Carston. My body, mind, spirit, I know that I'm Carston. So if your name is Alex, for example, you would say, my name is Alex, and your subconscious mind knows that it is congruent or true. When you make a true statement, you'll feel your body begin to gently sway forward because your body is drawn towards positivity, congruency, and truth. Now, you can try an untrue or incongruent statement. If your name is Alex, for example, you might say, my name is Chris, or my name is Kim. As long as you choose a name that is not your own, your subconscious mind will know that this statement is incongruent or untrue. Once you've made this statement, if you keep your mind clear of any other thoughts, you should feel your body begin to sway backwards within a few seconds. This is because your body knows, of course, that you're not who you're saying that you are, and it is because your body is not only repelled by negative thoughts such as hatred, but also incongruence and falsity. It's also repulsive to the mind and the body. So again, I know that I'm Carston. Drop my hands down at my side and I say, my name is Carston. And I think about what that means. I know that I'm Carston. I know who my family is. So does my body, okay? I am Johnny. Very subtle, but I feel myself moving back. And again, I'm not forcing myself. Don't force yourself. It's not going to work if you try to force yourself forward or you force yourself backwards, because the body, for the first time, is going to speak to you. And you have to let that speak to you. My name is Julie Andrews. I love her, but I know that I'm not Julie Andrews. So just have fun with it. Ask all sorts of questions, and then later on we'll be able to in the next video, Emmanuel's going to begin working with trapped emotions and how you can actually ask if you have a trapped emotion by using using the sway test. And so here's the most important part, and we're going to end with this. Keeping your mind clear. You got to keep your mind clear. Make sure that you keep your mind clear of all other thoughts after making your statement. If your thoughts are wandering, it will be difficult for your subconscious mind to determine exactly what it is you are after. What if, for example, you make a positive or true statement, but then immediately begin thinking of the argument you had with your spouse last night? You will probably sway backwards because the memory of that event is negative and your body will naturally want to move away from it. It is important to have patience with yourself. I did not have any patience with myself for the first month that I tried muscle testing, because of course you have to use finesse rather than force. And of course I was using all the strength possible to keep my fingers together to try and pull them apart. Because muscle testing, use your muscles, use your strength kind of thing. That's not how it works. It has to be finesse, it has to be very fine muscle testing. And that's what we're after as well. The fine muscles in your body that keep your balance will shift ever so slightly to either allow you to move forward or will allow you to move backward. And that's how you can get these answers. If you are 100% reversed, that's another situation. We'll discuss that later. But the important thing is to have patience with yourself. I did not have patience. I had to have Dr. Brad himself work on me during one of his webinars, his free webinars that he does every week or every other week. I told him, I want to cry, I want to help so many people, but I just can't get the muscle testing. And so he worked on me, and he found an emotion, an inherited trapped emotion. We're going to talk about that in a couple of future chapters. An inherited trapped emotion of self-abuse. And I'm like, okay, self-abuse, that totally rings true for me. I beat myself up every time I got a wrong answer. And then he said, well, it's from your dad's side. He got it from his mom. And just those two generations, I know that there was a lot of self-abuse. My dad beats himself up all the time. My grandma, I never saw her beat herself up emotionally, or with that negative verbal abuse kind of thing, self abuse. But I could kind of see that happening. But it went, her dad. Now I'd never met her dad. She was adopted. She never really got to know. Well, she did know her dad, but it kind of went up there. But we were more familiar with her stepdad's side of the family, and so we didn't get to see her biological dad's side of the family. And doing some genealogy, I don't even know who this person was, but it went back 10 generations from me. And doing our family history, we didn't even have a name for that person, so we're still in the works trying to find that person. But it was my 7th or 8th great grandma who originally felt this emotion of self-abuse, and it was so strong that it literally passed down through conception, clear down to me. And I actually passed it on to my sweet baby boy. But once it was released from me, and released, no, it actually wasn't passed down to my boy, because this all happened before we even conceived him. What I meant to say was that if I hadn't gotten this released, it would have passed on to my baby boy, and even my other kids. And so it ended with me, thank goodness, but it actually did pass on through conception to my brothers and sisters as well. Anyway, more to come with inherited trapped emotions, but again, it is important to have patience with yourself. When you are first learning this method, it may take a little longer than expected for your body to sway. Don't get discouraged if this happens. Just calm yourself down, readjust your position, be very comfortable, drop your hands down, take a great big deep breath, fill your heart with love for yourself. It's hard to love yourself sometimes, but if you don't love yourself, how are you going to be able to work and communicate with yourself? And I'm, of course, probably preaching to some of the choir, but it's definitely something that we all need to hear, and I'm saying this now. I still need to love myself more. It's just one of those things that you have to do, or you're not going to be successful. So again, don't get discouraged if this happens. Just be patient with yourself. Try again. Keep trying, and if you get a wrong answer, it's fine. We're human. We make we make mistakes. So your body's response time will shorten significantly the more you practice. The more challenging aspects of this form of testing for many people is that it requires them to give up control for a few moments and allow your body to do what it wants to do. For some, giving up control is not easy. That was another problem I had. I would beat myself up, but I would not get out of my own way. I would not get out of my own head. It was so hard to let my body take control, to allow my body, my subconscious mind, to give me answers. Naturally as human beings, we want to know the answer, and we feel like we do know the answer. And so if we're asking, if there's a trapped emotion making me angry, naturally you're going to think, oh, it's a trapped emotion of anger. Don't do that. Just let your body tell you what's going on. So again, it's probably the most challenging thing, but you got to get out of your own way. You just got to let your body do what it wants to do. For some, giving up control is not easy. Nevertheless, it is a simple skill to learn, and it shouldn't take you very long to become proficient. The main thing is to stay focused on whatever statement or thought you are putting out. Just keep your mind calm and allow your subconscious mind to communicate with you through the mechanism of your physical body. If for any reason you are not physically able to perform this test, don't worry. There are several other options that will be outlined for you in Chapter 5. So again, this is just one, and probably the most, sorry, I bumped the table, probably the most, like the most simple method of testing and getting answers from your body. So definitely give it a try. If it doesn't work, definitely stay tuned for chapters to come and different sections. If this does work, great. You're on the road to success and to finding answers. Now, the next part in page 38 is, do you have a trapped emotion? This is the good stuff. This is where we're actually able to put into practice what we're learning with this muscle testing, with the sway test. And once you figure this out and you get used to it and you get good at it, this is groundbreaking stuff. This is part of the paradigm shift, of course, but this is where you're now going to be able to open up significant doors. You'll be able to ask your body pretty much anything, as long as it's for your own good, not your financial gain. So you can't muscle test to see what the lotto numbers are. You can't muscle test to say, should I take this job or this job? It's not for determining the future. It's for determining the past and the present for your well-being, for your own good. And so we're going to pick up where I left off on, what did I just say? Page 38. Do you have a trapped emotion? So Emanuel's going to cover that next time, and I look forward to the next video. It's going to be awesome. Love you guys. Bye.